All right, let's talk about our home, planet Earth. Third rock from the sun, and as far as we can tell, the only place in this entire universe that's absolutely buzzing with life. But what is it that makes our world so incredibly special? Well, it all kind of boils down to a single number: 70.8%. That's it. That's how much of our planet's surface is covered in water in a global ocean. And, it's that huge amount of liquid water that gives us that famous blue marble look from space. It's what makes Earth completely different from any other world we found in our solar system. So that really is the big question we're tackling in this explainer, isn't it? How do all these different systems, I mean, everything from the planet's core right up to the clouds, how do they all connect to make this place a living world? To get our heads around that, we're going to break it down and look at our planet from 5 different angles. First, we'll look at where we are in space. Then we'll dive deep into the planet's fiery engine. After that, we'll check out the air and water that protect us, see how life completely transformed everything, and finally, we'll face the challenges we're dealing with right now. Okay, let's get into it. First up, a special place in space. Where Earth is located, that's no accident. It is absolutely critical, and it all comes down to this one big idea that astronomers call the habitable zone. Yeah, you've probably heard of this. It's basically the Goldilocks zone in a solar system. It can't be too hot, can't be too cold. It has to be just right for liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. Now, for that to happen, a planet needs an atmosphere thick enough to keep the water from just boiling off into space. And it needs a nice, stable orbit to keep things that way for, well, billions of years. You could say this is the prime real estate in the cosmos if you're looking for life. It's really this incredible combination of things coming together. We're at the perfect distance from the sun for liquid water. And on top of that, we have this huge moon that acts like a gravitational anchor. It keeps our planet's tilt stable, which stops the climate from going completely haywire. That's why we have these predictable seasons, which gave complex life a chance to really take hold and thrive. All right, so let's zoom in from the vastness of space right down into the planet itself. That brings us to part 1, the engine under our feet. The ground we walk on might feel solid and still, but believe me, it is constantly being shaped by this incredibly powerful heat engine churning away deep, deep inside. So we're living up here on the crust, which is actually just this really thin, solid shell. Right below us is the mantle, a huge layer of rock that, and this is wild, is technically solid, but it flows like super thick honey over millions of years. And then, at the very center, you've got a liquid outer core of iron and nickel sloshing around a solid inner core. And the temperatures down there? We're talking 6,000 degrees Celsius. That's as hot as the surface of the sun. And this whole setup is anything but static. That churning liquid outer core, that's what generates Earth's magnetic field. It's like our own personal force field, protecting us from nasty solar winds. At the same time, all that heat from the core is driving movement in the mantle, which in turn pushes around the tectonic plates of the crust. That's where all our geology comes from. Mountains, volcanoes, earthquakes. It's all because our planet is constantly, literally, recycling itself from the inside out. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a stable orbit in the perfect spot, and we've got this dynamic core creating a magnetic shield. But what's the shield actually protecting? Well, it's protecting the very air we breathe and the water we drink. And that brings us perfectly to part 2, our planetary life support systems, the atmosphere and the hydrosphere. So take a look at the air that keeps us all alive. It's mostly nitrogen, which doesn't do a whole lot for us directly. But that 21%, that's the good stuff, oxygen. And what's really amazing here is that our oxygen-rich atmosphere isn't some chemical fluke. It was actually made by life itself. But we'll get back to that in a minute. First, I want to talk about that tiny, tiny fraction of other gases. Because this is where you see the power of that tiny fraction. Gases like CO2 and water vapor, they act like a planetary blanket, trapping heat from the sun. It's the greenhouse effect. And without it, just look at those numbers. Earth's average temperature would plummet to a freezing minus 18 degrees Celsius. We'd be a giant snowball in space. This effect is precisely what keeps our oceans from freezing solid. Yeah, this quote really just hits the nail on the head. Our planet is an ocean world, the only one we know of in the entire solar system with liquid water on its surface. See how it all connects? The dynamic core, the protective atmosphere, they work together to create the one thing that's absolutely essential for life as we know it: liquid water. But here's the twist. Life didn't just move in, it completely remade the place. And that's our next section, part 3, Life, the Great Transformer. This is a crucial idea.
For billions of years, life wasn't just along for the ride. No way. It has been an incredibly powerful geological force in its own right, completely changing the planet's surface and even the air itself.
This timeline really helps put things in perspective. You can see life shows up pretty quickly after the planet forms, but then look at that enormous gap between the first life and the Cambrian explosion. What was going on there? For billions of years, life was just tiny little microbes. But don't let that fool you. They were busy carrying out what is probably the single greatest act of planetary engineering ever. So around 2.7 billion years ago, these tiny microbes cracked the code for photosynthesis, and they started pumping out a waste product. That waste product? It was oxygen. Now, at the time, oxygen was pure poison to most life on Earth, but it slowly started building up in the atmosphere. We call this the Great Oxidation Event, and it changed everything. It created the ozone layer, our shield against UV radiation, and it paved the way for every complex, air-breathing animal, including you, and that brings our story right up to today. For billions of years, the big players shaping this planet were rock, ice, and microbes. But now, a new force has entered the game, a powerful one. This is our final section, the Anthropocene Challenge, or the human factor. And just like we started, we're going to kick this off with a single number, 1.2 degrees Celsius. That's how much warmer the planet's average temperature was in 2020 compared to before the Industrial Revolution. And it's a change driven almost entirely by human activity. And that change is putting a huge amount of pressure on the very systems that keep us alive. You know, scientists have come up with this idea called planetary boundaries. It's like a health checkup for Earth's most critical systems. And the scary part is, as a species, we've already blown past the safe limits for at least 5 of them. We're talking about climate change, biodiversity, pollution, the whole shebang. We have become a geological force, just as powerful as the volcanoes and microbes that came before us. So we have to end this with a question. The story of our planet is a story of massive, constant transformation. We're just the latest chapter, a species that was born from these amazing systems, and now, somehow, holds the power to completely reshape them. So the real question isn't just about what Earth is, it's about what Earth is becoming, and what part we're going to play in that story. Thanks for exploring our living planet with us.